Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila. You're at my book nook. I hope you're doing well. Go drink water if you haven't. Today I am back with a individual book review. So this year, unlike last year, I've decided not to do a book review for every single book that I've read, but just ones that I needed individual ones. Otherwise you'll hear all about it in my wrap-ups and stuff, which I'm doing only quarterly and not monthly because I don't read enough. It's rare that I read enough in a month to do monthly wrap-ups. I feel like those are really time sensitive, so I try not to do them because that's a little, I don't know, it's a bit of a hassle. But anyways, today we are going to talk about a book that I have as a physical copy for once. We are talking about The Wolf Girl, the Greeks, and the Gods, written by Tom Holland and illustrated by Jason Cockcroft. Yeah. And it is a tale of the Persian Wars. So basically, this follows, I will read you the synopsis, because if you're not aware of how an individual book review works, I will give you the synopsis, I will give you my thoughts and feelings, as well as my rating, and all that fun stuff, just the juicy bits, and then I will tell you who I would recommend this for. So, that's the vibe. If you like the sound of that, I have more book reviews on my channel. Feel free to check them out, and if you like what I do here, feel free to subscribe. So, anyways, we are going to read the synopsis. The Trojan War is ancient history. The shades of its heroes fled to the underworld long ago. The gods of Olympus are silent and have not appeared to mortals for generations. In the Greek city-state of Sparta, the princess Gorgo lives a privileged life, playing, going to school, and listening to the old myths and tales her nurse, Lampeto, tells her. Gorgo's innocent childhood comes to an abrupt end, however, when her mother dies and whispers these last words, an enigmatic and ominous warning: the Persians are coming. Soon the princess is swept up in a dangerous game of politics, warcraft, treachery, and vengeance. With the blood of Heracles and Zeus himself running through her veins, and the awakening of a dormant supernatural power, Gorgo, now Queen of Sparta, must help lead her city-state against a mighty empire in one of history's most formidable wars. So this tale tells the tale of, the Persian Wars and everything. And this has, I believe, Marathon and Thermopylae? Maybe? I don't remember both of them. But definitely has Marathon. So there's that. And this is, okay, well, here's the section of my thoughts, right? This I read on audiobook. And I feel like that's important because I think the format you read in, and yes, audiobooks are a form of reading. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. This here. I also just don't want it to fall. Okay. I don't want to hold it. But I read this on audiobook. I read this via the audiobook. I listened to it. And I did so during my library shift. Most of the time while I was shifting or shelf reading or whatnot. So this was strictly a work time book. And I didn't listen to it outside of work, which I think kind of helped because it sort of separated it from the other books that I was reading, so I wasn't really mixing up the books. Not that I do anyways, but you know what I mean? It just helps separate it. So that's one thing I would highly recommend when it comes to audiobooks, is just having a specific audiobook for a specific point that is regular. So I go to work almost every day, right? So obviously I know at one point I'm going to do shifting, right? Especially if I'm at the big library. So I know that, shifting, if I'm doing it alone, I can listen to my audiobook. If I'm not doing it alone, okay, no, I'm chatting with my coworker. That's the usual vibe, right? But yeah, so this was absolutely fantastic as the audiobook. I am picky when it comes to audiobooks. I don't listen to them very often. And I think the thing is with audiobooks is I match it to my reading speed, but I think my reading speed is still going to be always faster. I will read the book faster than an audiobook every time, because just my reading, I read faster than people speak, and even if I amp it, is just, I don't know, sometimes I will read even faster and I'll still be able to absorb the words. It's just a thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but in any way, my reading will always be faster than an audiobook. So audiobooks, I like to sort of slow down, and I like to give my eyes a little bit of rest. I just like to close my eyes and just listen, or I'm doing something and I want my hands free, and I'm doing something focusing and my eyeballs are free, right, from the text. But yeah, this was absolutely fantastic as an audiobook. I forget the narrator's name off the top of my head. I did listen to it through Libby, but she was fantastic. It's one woman and she has a British accent and fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The voices she does, the emotions she conveys, absolutely and utterly fantastic. I would highly, highly recommend. The physical is gorgeous on its own. The art style is stunning, and just the way it's done is stunning. And so I would recommend getting the physical as well if you can find it. This is the wolf and stuff, and yeah, it's a stunning book, you know. It's gorgeous, but the audiobook is equally as fantastic, and I love this. If I was younger, I definitely would have loved this more, and I feel like this is perfect for children. It's not super gory or anything, but it sort of teaches you what happens during a war. Like, it doesn't fully shy away from it. It just makes it, I don't know, more digestible for kids and those that aren't huge fans of like gory stuff, I guess. Like the you know, like the details and stuff of like how the bodies are on the ground and stuff, and how they're, you know, how the people were killed. So I really like that aspect. Again, the audiobook was fantastic. I thought this was so well done and such a delight to read. This would be like a perfect, I don't know, bedtime story in a way. Granted that your kid doesn't get nightmares, but this is a perfect one to sort of read through before bed, because it's fairly, I don't want to say light because it's war, but it's, as far as certain books go and like the world building, it's so good. And I really loved seeing the difference between like Sparta and Athens, because in Sparta, famously, the girls were also taught as equally as the boys, whereas in Athens, no. And there's this mythology aspect to it. There's this, like, I don't want to say fantasy, but again, mythology aspect to it. There's like the gods and everything. And this was so good. As far as children's books, this was in the children's section, so technically it's a children's book. Like, as a children's adaptation, I feel like Tom Holland does, not the actor, Tom Holland does a fantastic job of not only translating and writing non-fiction books about ancient world, but also adapting it to easily read and understood by children. Like, that is a man of many talents, and honestly, kudos to him. That it was truly a fantastic book. I'm truly very impressed with how easy it was to read and everything, to listen to and everything, and it was just fantastic. I would say that maybe it should be 10 and up, less so maybe 8 and up, so to speak, if we're going by my sister's standards. But my sister's a very sensitive child, so if your child's okay with like slightly harsh, if your child is okay with like slightly harsh, you know, subject matters, because there are battles in this and people do get killed and it's a little brutal, then by all means, knock yourself out. I wish we had more of these adaptations. So Tom Holland, if you're listening, please write more, because this was fantastic. And I think if you really adapt these battles and these stories, not just mythology. The problem is it's always mythology. You know, you don't have stories of all these famous, you know, princesses and princes and all that stuff. Just don't go for the mythology, because that's overdone. Go for the real life history, you know? Go for, like, talk about, like, Persian Wars. Talk about the Persian kings and queens and stuff. And, I don't know, adapt like freaking Cleopatra's. Like, that would give such a huge boost, and we would gain so many more kids who want to go into classics. And it's so important, especially with the amount of misinformation that is going around right now, especially in the United States. And that, I think, is because of a decline in valuing the arts and valuing history and valuing language and valuing English and grammar and all that, and valuing critical thinking and critical thought and being able to infer things. That's a whole other conversation, but like, you would gain so much more with the kids coming in than you ever could with the adults. So yeah, this was really fantastic. As I said, I can't stop gushing about it. This is one of my favorite reads of the year. And I have quite a lot of 5 stars so far. So yeah, Anyways, who would I recommend this for? If you are new to sort of the ancient world and you've done all the mythological stuff and you want to get into real world stuff, but you're intimidated to read like the histories, it is a chonker, so I don't blame you. Where's my copy? It's somewhere over there. Or the Odyssey or the Iliad. Start with this. Honestly, get the audiobook, get the physical, get the ebook, I don't really care. This was fantastic and it has awesome pictures. It was so good. I cannot stress it enough. It was such an easy digestible read. It was just, again, it's a children's book, but it's about such an important subject in history, such an important moment in history, and it's very, very good. And those with kids who you want to have a little more enthusiasm, you know, in history, you know, if your kid's showing interest in history, but you don't know what to entertain with them with, read the book to them. Someone who wants a light read. A short, light read. This is not a very long book. A lot of it is pictures. So text-wise, it's probably very, very, like a small amount of text, really. Again, it's a children's book. I cannot reiterate that enough. And yeah, if you want like a refresher on those battles and stuff, and all that fun stuff, this was, again, fantastic. So I highly, highly recommend, and I felt like it deserved a video of its own. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next one. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know your thoughts down below. Give me other adaptations of famous events, I guess, if you know of any. If you're going to read the book, if you're going to read others, if there's other stuff like that. And I will see you in the next one. Happy reading.